Alright, MrSotko here, and welcome back to another Starcraft 2 replay cast. Today it's a 1 vs 1 on Dusk Towers between our red Protoss player, LucasKyioshi. I believe I'm saying that correctly. We'll go with that for now, and down on the bottom we have our blue Zerg, the ZergLord, and we're going to speed this on up to the 8x mark, to the 2-minute point of the game when everything starts to get a little good. And probe coming around here, spying away, and looks like some overlords moving out, and some fairly quick zerglings as well. So we'll speed it back on down, or slow it back on down. One of the two. Either way, you get the point. And now some zerglings coming up here, but a photon cannon, and actually a photon cannon is somewhat rare. You don't really actually see that all that often anymore. Zerglings piling up here. No, they can't get in. The probe there could be defeated easily enough. However, that photon's going to be doing a lot of damage to all those Zerglings, and they may not be able to make it in there. So, a somewhat fast expand there for the Zerg. Actually, somewhat slow. Not much faster than the Protoss right now. Overlord going to spy everything up here. Should be able to see what's going on there. And does see that the probe is blocking that, and the photon cannon there as well. Probe all the way back here. Wonder if it's going to do anything tricky and make some proxy play or anything like that. Cybercore just not coming up. Doesn't really look like proxy play. We have a photon cannon in the back. Somewhat quick game, but with the whole Legacy of the Void situation going on, the game is much faster than it's ever been, and StarCraft 2 is notoriously fast, much faster than StarCraft 1. And so the games are actually very short. If you look at a lot of replay websites, all of the, even the main, even some of the bigger names in StarCraft 2 release very short replays. We're talking anywhere from 8 to maybe 14 minutes. Rarely do you get a 20 or 25-minute game in a 1 vs 1. And when you do, it doesn't necessarily mean that it was a really good game. So the replay is typically a little bit short. And if anybody thinks the replays that I'm casting are too short, I could probably try and find longer replays. But once again, I can't really guarantee just because it's a long replay doesn't mean it's necessarily a good game. So we'll have to see on that one. And right now, the whole meta, the whole just the whole game and inherency of Legacy of the Void is just fast. The whole thing. Everything is just quick. A lot of AoE units have been introduced. A lot of new units that just really take things out in bulk, like lurkers and disruptors. All that sort of situation really just takes a lot of stuff out very quickly. And of course, starting with more drones, probes, that sort of thing, so you just get a faster start overall in this game. And I think, I honestly think I disagree with how fast the game is. I wish they would slow it back down a little bit. I think starting with that many, with extra drones and SCVs and such is unnecessary. I think it took away some of the strategy. I think it's sort of just a hand-me-down kind of thing, and I get what they were trying to do. I really do get what they were trying to do, and that like that part of the game is always the same, like you building your probes. But the difference between a pro player and a not-so-pro player is every single point of the game, including those points where you're just making probes and you're sending that probe to the most efficient minerals, and you're sending each one to its own mineral, and all that sort of thing is all leads up to being a pro player. And taking that away is I'm just not really sure if that's the best way to go about it. But Blizzard is Blizzard. They've been doing this a lot longer than I have, so I'll leave it up to them. And ZergLord making a bunch of roaches, staying back in the base, both sides staying back in the base, neither side really poking each other, viewing each other, observing, whatever you want to call it, reconnoitering. So an interesting game so far, so we'll see who wins. I think this game will come down to pretty much one push. Looks like Stalkers, Zealots, and Sentries now coming down. I'm surprised I haven't seen any Adepts this game. Normally you see Adepts like right off the bat. That's sort of a meta lately, is just Adepts immediately. So very interesting indeed. Here comes a Changeling. It's taken out very, very quickly. Not going to fall for that one. Stalker's way out in front here. Need those Zealots up. And Stalker's going to pay the price for that. And now the Roaches here stuck behind force fields. Gonna get shot there. But they make it around. The Adept here is out in the open as well. Not a lot of Zealots here to really sort of eat up some of those Roaches. Or their damage, rather. Now making a Ravager here. Just one Ravager so far. And our Zerg actually floating a lot of resources here. 1,000 resources floating, and the ZergLord is not a an amateur player in the least. So I wonder why he's floating all of this cash. He needs another hatchery. He needs more hatcheries. I think he's using all of his larvae, and that just goes to show how fast the game is now. How fast you mine. And the engagement has begun. And now going after some of these Stalkers here, but getting some pretty good force fields in there, splitting up these Roaches fairly well and going after individual Roaches, and looks like these Roaches just getting demolished, and there isn't too much left here for our Zerg. A couple Hydralisks now coming on in, even more Hydralisks, 5 Hydralisks now coming in. That should turn the table a little bit here. Now the Roaches on the backside, and now with these Hydras here, that incredible DPS of Hydras really taking down those Stalkers very quickly, now running for their somewhat lives, if you will. And Zerg now coming, but again, it just goes to show how fast you mine in Legacy of the Void because of those starts and because of how fast you can expand. Look at the amount of resources they're just floating, and it's in minerals, and it just goes to show how fast you mine minerals and not necessarily gas. So the gas was unchanged, but the minerals just way too much, in my opinion, and it makes for a really, really fast game. And now some people could say that's a good thing because maybe you don't have time to play a lot of games. You can get in more games because they're short games, but then it seems like the quality of the games goes down just a little bit. I kind of liked when there was 25, 20-minute games in Heart of the Swarm, and I had to think for a moment there. I cast a lot of games, so I forgot just a moment. But Heart of the Swarm, I really like the pace of Heart of the Swarm. I really like the game length in Heart of the Swarm. I really like the game length in Wings of Liberty as well. And Lucas has to GG out just too much. ZergLord played too well, but you can see 1,000 resources, and he has a couple larvae there, 2 larvae there, and let's see, 1 larvae there. And this one just popped up recently, so he has a couple there as well. So he does have a little bit of extra larvae left over, but really, what's that, like 2, 4, 6, 7 units, and that's really not equating to 1,000. So you just mine so much in this game, it's ridiculous of Legacy of the Void, but I really like the older expansions. I like the pace of them, and I think they just need to slow the game down a little bit. I've actually heard a lot of complaints about how fast the game is, but I think some people like that, and I think some people don't. So, I mean, voice your concerns, if you will, on the forums, if you like it or if you don't like it, so you can make Blizzard do one thing or the other. Let's have some consistency, if you will. But I hope you guys enjoyed this replay. It was a short one, but it didn't take too much of your time, and well played on ZergLord's part. And I hope you guys enjoyed it. I'll see you guys next time.